Alright, I have the video capture flipped because the way it was when I would look at the screen, I'm looking not at the screen. Just to make it a little bit different. Alright, so this is what I got going on. I'm working on this track. I'm calling it Better Days because it really is just a solid rip from Graham Nash called Better Days. Not really planning on getting into what the beat's doing right now because I already have videos for that. But what I did, because this song eventually will be on the album that I'm working with. I'm going to title it Therapy. These are kind of like TED Talks. This one's a TED Talk about suicide, mostly about depression and suicide, because that's kind of what I'm working with. I've been writing to this beat today, but I wanted a part that kind of leads in to the whole verse work, and it ends up being this guy. Alright, so, well, we don't need to solo it, but we'll give this a listen.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
So,
and neglected to such a degree that it led him on more than one occasion to the point of considering taking his own life.
So what I did was I had like a whole TED Talk, just open the routing so that I can record YouTube. And then I re-listened to it, went back to it, and as I was listening to it, I just took out shit that I, spoke to me or could be used in the beat. But anyway, so I want this guy, and here's the problem. So I'm going to copy him so the master will still be there, but if I paste it here and put it in like to the intro, because the intro is kind of long, and then it goes into the chorus, which is right here. But as you can see, when I butt this guy up in the front, it'll play into the chorus, which we don't want. So we're going to give the beat a listen just with the sample in, so you can kind of understand what I'm working with here, or the problem that I'm having.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
So, neglected and then terribly neglected. But neglected, you could kind of squash back, but I'm kind of wondering if I want to do, include terribly neglected. Listen. Man, yeah, I'm on and off grid.
Though so important to him, this life was neglected, terrible.
So if I were to take this guy and kind of shove him back, it would kind of work. However, I'm not going to work with compressors right now. I just need to get the sample right, and then we can work with that. Just thinking about... Alright, so first thing you want to do is take this guy and see how it has all this information. This is the guy that you're looking at. But it has all that other information. You don't need that. So what we're going to do is Control J. That'll consolidate it. Now, when you look at it, it's just that piece. Right. So now we can put markers. You can see Ableton's already put a marker here. But now we can, very important is to put it to pro, especially speech and that kind of thing. I turn all these guys down. Be honest, I'm not entirely sure that I know exactly what they're doing. It just sounds more natural when you turn all that shit down. Anyways, and always make sure it's on high quality. And that way when you move it, it doesn't get garbly and shit like that. But let's listen to what we have soloed anyways and move from there.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
So now, you can see I made a marker right at the end. If we were to take this and shove it back, let's see if that works. Actually, let's listen to it because we want to make sure the quality is still there. We're gonna...
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who...
And it sounds fine. So, take this all off. Now listen.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
Went to a strange land searching.
I think it works out just fine. Right? Sounds good. Let's affect it a little bit. First thing I want to do is... Shit. These guys really should be... Let me just go like this. Because I'm going to end up putting it all on a compressor, and I don't want to do anything with that right now. I'll just move those up. So, compressor is going to end up helping us to, like when he gets those loud parts, like, tonight, we're going to talk about a man kind of thing, So, let's work with that on a solo. Control.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough.
Put your attack down, so
that what
when you put the attack down, it's like immediate. Like it sees that thing and immediately hits it. Whereas if you turn your attack back, it hears it, but it's kind of on the back side of things, which I don't like. But let's listen now.
Tonight, I want to tell
you can see there's gain
a
reduction probably of
a
3
man
to 6 dB.
Who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important.
See, like and is really bright, but now when you turn it on, it kind of squashes it.
Called the psyche, or the soul.
So now what I do, recordingrevolution.com, I believe it is. I don't know the guy. I can't remember the guy's name, but he has really, really, really good information about mixing and producing. And what he does a lot is what he calls parallel compression. And I kind of do that on everything now, and it really works out well. I'm going to duplicate this, create another compressor, but this one I'm going to turn to makeup and turn this down. And what it's going to do is kind of look at the back side of things, the things that aren't as bright, and then kind of make them brighter. So what you've essentially done, or what I hear, is on this one, it squashes the really bright kind of things when, an and then go to a soft speech, it kind of squashes that shit. And then after it's squashed, this guy looks at it and says, well, there's shit in the background that you can't really hear, so it boosts it back up. See what I'm getting at? I don't know. Usually you're including EQ on this, but I'm not there yet. But let's listen.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected. Tonight, I want to tell you a story of...
When the second compressor hits, it's taking actually that background noise and the hissing and everything and jacking that up, which we don't want. So we'll throw an EQ on it anyways. I know 3's easier, but let's turn 1, 2 off, and then 3 off. Oh no, we'll keep 3. But we'll take the really highs out.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected. Tonight...
So I like that. And then we'll throw some reverb on it, kind of wash it out, give it some air. Solo that again.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected. Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche.
So we're going to put an auto pan on it, but we're going to be careful with it because we kind of want it center, but not. So we're going to do just a slight difference here and probably walk it very slowly, left and right. We're not attaching it to the beat, and then we're also making sure that we put it before the reverb and not after. Very important.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected. Tonight, I want to tell you a story.
See how it walks, but then terribly neglected, you want it to be off and here in the center. Real quick, you just turn it off, turn it back on, and now that toggles the device on thing. Put your pen here and we're on an off-grid, so we can turn it off very easily right here. And now that part of this speech will be centered in your headphones, but you can feel it walking around if you're listening to this, professionally, whatever.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
Went to a strange land searching for a truth you felt was wrong. That's when the heartache started. Though you're where you wanna be, you're not where you belong.
Terribly neglected.
Went to a strange land searching for a truth you felt was wrong. That's when the heartache started. Though you're where you wanna be, you're not where you belong.
Alright, that's about it. Do a quick one today, but wanted to show how you can take what you have, and if it's not necessarily as short as it needs to be, you can affect that with your warp markers. And if you put it at a higher quality and affect the master properly, then you can make it sound good, and it fits in and does what you need it to do. It's all sound, people. It's not that fucking difficult. But anyway, Jay.lackovic, architect, a little piece, a little bit of information there. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right, so this is just my first 16 out of 64 that I plan on doing on this track. It's one of the tracks that's going to be on therapy. This should be attached to the video that you've been presently watching, which is kind of the build of this track. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but anyway, here's my first 16 bars.
Tonight, I want to tell you a story of a man who lived long enough to know that what was unseen and important, that is his inner life, the life of what the Greeks called the psyche, or the soul, that though so important to him, this life was neglected, terribly neglected.
Went to a strange land searching for a truth you felt was wrong. That's when the heartache started. Though you're where you wanna be, you're not where you belong.
Listen, ever since the
he ain't stupid, he knows exactly where he sent me. Dad, an alcoholic, mommy, kinda fucked up mentally. Got me screwed up in my mind, truly fundamentally. I've been blindly walking life like it's been owed to me, holding me, controlling me, bowling me over, blowing me sober. Now control is over, weeping soulfully on her shoulder. She never asked for it, prick, Lackovic addict, lack at it, look at it. I've done nothing that ever truly mattered. Had a few tracks that I mastered, but that's really about it. Had 2 kids that just deal with me. All for the music and unheard obscure MP3s. Yeah, I'm good at it, that's all I do, put my foot in it. Thought back at it, that I was after it, in it to win it. Set up lab, learn to mix, rap a tactual rap, and set tracks back to friends and media apps. But no one likes it, I get it, but this is my therapy. Main reason I get up and stay up and continue to breathe. Read into that, you heard what I said, continue to breathe. Continue to breathe. So yeah, first 16, more to come. Just to put on the backside of that video. Take it easy, Architect.